Check this out. Are you ready? Pretty good that, ain't it, eh? One more time. I'm going to show you how you can edit your photographs with just one click. Hey! Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video here at Benham Media. I am Nathan and it's an absolute pleasure to see all of you here today. Thank you so much for clicking on the thumbnail. So I have been sort of like developed by this sort of cold virus that's been going through our house recently. It started off with my son and it's been going through most of my children. Phoenix has had it, and you know, me being a very sort of nice, generous guy, I decided to give it to myself so that way it could go through everybody and it's gone. But it has literally knocked me for six, so I've not been able to go out and take any photographs because I've not really felt up to it. Also, hence the reason why I've got myself a nice little bit of a sort of I've been at home for too long growth on the chin. So instead of actually going out, taking photographs, doing a POV or anything like that, I've decided this week to show you how I would edit my photographs. And more specifically, doing the dreaded presets idea. Now, I know presets are very sort of like touch and go with many photographers, especially new photographers, but trust me, presets aren't the sort of like the spawn of the devil. Most photographers that I know use presets to sort of start their workflow, and the majority of photographers that you'll see online, obviously they sell their own presets. I don't, as a matter of fact. I do have some of my own presets and they are available, but they are available for free. But if you look down on my website down there, you can be able to pick up any of the presets that I use in this video for absolutely nothing. So yeah, give them a go and give me a shout out over on Instagram if you do in fact use them. Now, one of the reasons why I use presets is generally to sort of speed up my workflow, which is what a lot of photographers do when they use presets. When I go out and shoot in London, you only see sort of like the tip of the iceberg of the photographs that I sort of take. I generally sort of take between 500 to 600 photographs when I'm out and about, and then I sort of go through them all in Lightroom and go, right, I don't like those ones, I do like those ones. And then I end up sort of just still having a best part of 100 photographs for me to choose from before I send them off over onto social media and so on and so on. But to go through each and every single one of these photographs and individually hit the sliders and move the sliders across and all this sort of stuff, it will take forever. And this is the reason why photographers use presets. And it does, it just speeds up your workflow quite quickly. So when you've got a crap load of photographs that you need to go through, that you want to edit, especially if you've got a client as well and you're working towards a deadline, a preset is a great way to start off your sort of creative juices, so to speak. Now, I will always say that a preset is a starting block to your edit. Usually when I've taken a photograph or when I see it in Lightroom, I have a bit of an idea how I want it to look, or I have an idea of what presets that I have available to me, and I'm able to sit there and go, right, okay, that preset might work for that, and I can give it a bit of a jiggle, and so on and so forth. But almost every single photograph that I use a preset for, I adapt it slightly compared to that particular photograph. So I don't just go click, move on, click, move on. Sometimes I do, sometimes I click a preset and it looks really, really good. And I'm like, do you know what, I'm gonna leave that and I might come back to it later. And I do highly recommend photographers start using them and, you know, create your own. Like there's a way of in Lightroom of creating your own preset, saving your edit and make your own preset. Hence the reason why photographers can make their own presets and offer them up for sale. I will also say at this moment as well, if you buy another photographer's preset, that does not mean this is not your photograph. Like I've just previously said, you use a preset as a sort of starting block to your edit. But just because you use another photographer's presets on your photographs does not make that your photo. And that's something that really you want to sort of like keep into your mind. It is your photograph. You have taken this photograph. How you edit it is down to you. Okay, it's that plain and simple. But when you've got a client, and especially if you've got a client who wants the photographs to look all the same, having a preset is a great way of making sure all of your photographs look uniform across the board. And even if you have to adapt that preset slightly, you are able to save those changes and stick it onto your other photographs as well by just sort of simply saving it, or copy the presets or settings and then pasting it onto your other photograph. So let's dive into the laptop now, and I'm going to show you a few photographs that I have taken over the last week or so, and then we can sort of like show you how you can simply edit it with one click, just like this. So here we are in the laptop, and these are the 6 photographs that I'm going to use for my example. So we're going to go into development, and these particular photographs just here are ones that I have taken in my last video. I'm going to stick it just up here for you so you can have a quick look. But these are street photography photographs that I have taken over the last week or so, and you know, they're all sort of landscape ones and portrait ones, and I've even got one here of Phoenix, so I can show that you can still use your presets on portrait photography as well. But we're going to start off with this one. Now, one of the first things I do is that I will crop it to the size that I want. So I'll come up to the crop, and we're going to go into 8:10 because that's a nice little narrative. And I'm just going to make sure it's exactly where I want. So I don't really want that pillar in the way, and we'll just have it like that. Maybe angle it slightly so it's straight, just like that. And boom, there we go. That is what I'm looking for this particular photograph. And I'm going to come over here into my sort of presets. I'm going to come all the way down, and you can see you've got Nathan's presets just there. And these are all the ones that you can get onto my website. I think I might have a couple already up here that I've not quite uploaded, but I'm going to get around to that. And I'm just going to simply click on one. So I'm going to go on 1947, click, boom, and there it is, done. I've got a nice contrasty black and white photo, which I'm happy with. And if I'm not happy with that, I can always come down. And what it also does as well is that it gives you a bit of like a preview, so you don't even need to click on your preset to see what your photograph is going to look like. So you've got Moody black and white, you've got Odyssey, and come a little bit further down, you've got the Smoke, which is usually one of my favourite, and it gives it nice orangey type of vibes. But with this particular photograph, I went to a black and white feature, which is that one right there. And that's it. That's a photograph that I end up being quite happy with. But if I want to make a few changes, I can always come up to the sliders up here, and I could probably bring the highlights up a little bit, maybe bring up the whites, and bring out the shadows, and we'll bring the shadows up a little bit so you can see a little bit more of the people eating, and simply like that. So that particular photograph has taken me less than a minute to edit, and I'm quite happy with that. And you can do it with any of them as well. So you even go over to this one here. Again, we're going to crop it, simply like that. I'm going to do this one landscape, bring it right down, get rid of some of that negative space at the top there, crop it in, and then I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to go on to Battlefield, which is a very sort of high contrast, highlight, nice warm orangey tones. Now it's not ideal for this particular one, so I'm not happy with that. So I'm going to come down here and go into City Lights, and that brings up sort of like, makes it a little bit more warmer, a little bit more bright. And again, you can come over here and then you can play around with some of these settings. So we're going to do that one last time, and we're going to see how long it takes to edit this photograph. So let's go like that, bosh, crop, just like that, get the buildings in, bit of a rough crop there, and we're going to come straight down here, and we're going to come over to the grind, which is a nice Gotham City type of vibe there, and straight away I'm actually happy with how that photograph has come out with the preset alone. Now if I've got another photograph that I'm happy that I want this on, if I right click, come up to settings, copy settings, make sure all these boxes are ticked apart from the local adjustments, which are the brushes and sort of the filters and stuff like that. Click copy, come over to this one here, right click again, settings, and paste, and there we go. It is the exact same as the previous photograph, and that's what you can do going over and over and over and over onto your presets. And I've just edited 1, 2, 3, 4 photographs in a space of less than 5 minutes. So it speeds up your process. And like I said, you don't necessarily need to sort of keep it like that. You can come over to the sliders and change it around. But you don't just need these on street photography. You can also come over to a nice portrait shot. Here is my wonderful partner in crime, Phoenix. And we're going to 8x10 her as well. And a nice sort of portrait, up and tight, just like that. Now, because I've saved that setting, I can go back up here, right click, settings, and paste. And I can see what that one looks like. It looks pretty good, it looks very vintage, but I think the contrast is up too much, so I'm gonna bring that down a little bit. Probably bring the highlights down from her face. And then I might even come down here and bring up the vibrance slightly as well. And of course, I might even cool it down a little bit. That's not really worked, so I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna have a little look at what that looks like with the Nate Man. There you go, that's come out very, very lovely as well. But going on to the idea of that you can have other photographer presets to make your photographs look just as good. So I'm going to reset, actually I'm going to go over this one right here. So this is a photo of St. Paul's Cathedral. Give it a nice little crop. Bring it down, lever it up a little bit so it's all nice and straight. Well, there we go. And if I come over to my presets, if I come right to the top, you will see I've got some of Chris Howe's. I'm assuming you know who Chris Howe is. He's a fantastic YouTube photographer creator, does an awful lot of work with car photography, and I've got 4 of his presets here. So I'm gonna have a quick little look to see what his look like. Oh, a little bit flashy. So let's stick with that one for to begin with, because I like the nice warm colors, but it's not got much contrast. So I'm gonna bring the contrast up so you can sort of see a little bit more. Bring the shadows in. See, now because I'm using one of Chris Howe's presets, you can sit there and go, oh, but that's not your photograph, you're using another photographer's presets. Not at all. I took this photograph, this is my photo. But what I'm also doing is that I am now adapting this photo and its presets to my liking. So we're gonna have a bit of a play around that, bring that down, bring the dehaze up a little bit so we can see a little bit more. Whee! Bring the blacks down. Contrast of that. So there we go, and that's a little bit flat. So I'm coming to the tone curves because you can see what he does with this particular preset. He's brought the blacks, he's flattened them slightly. So I'm gonna bring that down a little bit more. A nice little generic S curve. Shadows, I'm gonna bring up the whites a little bit as well. So bring up the shadow. Bring the, there we go. And there you have it. So even though I've used a Chris Howe preset on this particular photograph, I've adapted the sliders to make it my own edit. It was a baseline, it was something that I started with and I sort of liked it, but I made some minor adjustments to make it more my own edit. I've taken this photograph, this is my photograph, I've just used another photographer's idea of a preset and then I've adapted it to make it my own edit. Now I'm not overly happy with that particular edit. I will probably work on it a little bit more, try to make it more my own idea. And if I didn't think that preset would have worked, I would probably use another preset, or I would have scrapped the whole thing and maybe created a whole new one to fit that particular photo, because the sky was quite blown out and St. Paul was sort of the same color as the sky. But of course you can use the brushes and you can use these sort of filters and you can use all sorts of things to turn a preset that you've either created yourself or you've in fact bought and turn it into your own sort of edit yourself. And that's the most important thing you've got to understand, that even if you do buy one of these presets from another photographer, or if you do in fact use one of mine, link down there in the description, you haven't copied another particular photograph, you haven't copied a particular photographer, you are still making your own edit. And when you've got, say, like 50 photographs, you've gone out, you've had a fantastic day shooting in the city or with a model, or shot a car and you've just had you're like, oh, how am I gonna get this done in time? One click preset, one click preset, one click preset, and then you spend a couple more minutes just sort of working out the slides a little bit more. So I highly recommend using presets. A lot of photographers will still recommend using presets, and if a photographer does say that they don't usually use them, they might be telling the truth, but I can guarantee you they've used a preset at some point in their life, even if they've only used their own presets as well. So that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed this particular sort of demonstration. If you have, please be so kind and hit the thumbs up button just down there. It really does help the video. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. It will mean an absolute so much. But until next time, guys, hopefully I will see you out in the streets. I've been Nathan. You have been sensational. Thank you and goodbye. Mwah, 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 mwah.